And good morning. Welcome to a Tadpoll for this Thursday morning. Of course, every Thursday morning we're here next to the bakery with the Tadpoll. The Saturday mornings we're next door at the bakery with our sports talk, and we do appreciate the sponsorship we've had through the about 6-7 months now we've been doing this. We do appreciate it. And what we're going to do, we have a kickoff this morning. We're going to have the various sponsors of the show come on and talk a little bit about their business. Brenda Chandler will be joining us in a moment to talk about blossoms and butterflies, and you can see the nice piece here in front of us here, and we'll be talking more about that and about some other things. Something Chamber has some nice shirts. The program, of course, brought to you by the sponsors you saw before we went on the air here. This morning we're going to be talking with Betty Johnson and Morris Engel about the strategic planning that's currently going on in Phillips County. We're also, Anna Schremer will be joining us, Cody Miller talking about extension, and then we're going to inaugurate a program. We're going to have the mayor on, Lance Munyon, once a month to talk about what's going on. This is his anniversary as mayor, 1 month. A month ago, he was made mayor of Phillipsburg. He'll be joining us to talk about some of the things that, of course, of interest to people who live in Phillipsburg and some of the things he's going to be involved in. That's all coming up on the Tadpole. But first, good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Tad.
Okay. A big day coming up next Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes, we do. We have Valentine's Day.
Okay. Is that a big day?
That's the biggest one day we have in the flower shop. Yes.
Okay.
Because Mother's Day is big, but it's all week.
Sure.
And this is one day.
Okay, so what do you have to do to get ready for something like that?
Well, we ordered our flowers about 6 weeks ago.
Wow, so we have to know.
You have to know what you're going to order.
Wow.
And our roses come in today and tomorrow, and we have 1,000 roses coming in.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a lot of roses. So everybody order.
Okay, now some people give a dozen, some just one,
Yeah,
or 5 dozen, or whatever, right?
Yeah, we have given 3 dozen away one time, one
Really?
person.
Wow.
Yes, yeah, and that's a lot of roses.
Yeah. Right, and so what all do you have there besides roses?
We have lots of gift items. We carry the corksicles, which is real popular. We have T-shirts, plush animals, plants, silks, signs.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything for Valentine's
Day. Just
Day.
need to come in and look around and see what you find.
I've got to ask this question. Do men buy more things or Valentine's for their women or women for their men? What?
Men for their wives
or
girlfriends or
sure,
yes,
right.
Yes. It's maybe the only time of the year you see them, but they come in on Valentine's Day, and a lot of last minute ones.
I bet. Yeah, I bet that. Yeah. And it's interesting. Did they ever come in and say, "Help me out here"? What
almost all of them say that.
Okay.
Help me out. What do I need to do? We'll say, well, did you do anything all year for them?
Okay. So the earlier the better.
Earlier the better. If you ordered before January 31st, they got a free box of chocolates with their order.
Wow,
and we have a lot of men take up on that. I don't know if it's because they like the chocolates or what.
Okay, and you have chocolates too.
Yes, we have chocolates and have Jelly Belly candies. We have the Smooth and Melties.
Wow.
Lots of candies.
Sure.
Bulk and in packages.
Okay, so are roses the most popular thing for Valentine's?
Yes, we sell mostly roses, yes.
Okay.
Lots of arrangements, but roses, and then a lot of Gerber daisies. That's the next popular flower, probably.
Okay. What kind of daisies?
Gerber.
Gerber daisies? Okay,
They're just the great big headed ones.
Oh, okay.
They're single stems. They're real pretty.
Okay. Now, do they usually ask for, does the guy or the gal pick it up to deliver, or does he ask you to deliver it?
Most of the time we deliver. Okay. I hire 3 people to deliver.
Oh, wow.
And then usually 2 or 3 runners. Okay. So the one person can drive, the other person can jump out and take it in. It's a lot of deliveries.
And it's all on the 14th too,
yes.
right? Okay.
We have a couple that go on the 13th because they're not working on the 14th. And everybody wants to make an impression at work. So you wanted to go to work.
Someone at work, you get it, and the rest of the people get home and say, hey, I didn't get it. I didn't get anything today, right?
That's right.
So do it today.
Yep.
And can they call you, or do you just have them come in?
Well, no, we take it over the phone. It's our phone number is 785-540-4074.
Okay.
And they can call us anytime.
Okay. I know you do a good job. I'll give you a buzz.
You order a lot. So.
And for special occasions, it's for Valentine's Day. Again, next Wednesday, do it today. The thing of it is, if you do it now, then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's right. It's taken care of, and you're not getting something because we run out.
Okay, so and 1,000 roses.
1,000 roses.
Oh, wow.
And not last year, but the year before, we ran out of roses. So we did up our order last year, and then so.
Okay, the word of the wise is order now.
Especially if you want a certain color.
Yeah, sure. Oh.
Are
red roses the most popular, though?
Red are the most popular, but we have like probably 10 other colors, so they can have their pick.
I have to ask you, I'm going to change the subject a little bit, on poinsettias. The old traditional poinsettia is still the popular ones. Okay,
the red is the most popular, yes.
That's what everyone...
Yeah, everybody likes the...
Okay, so order those roses or whatever today. And get ready for Valentine's Day. Then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, now why did you bring this?
Okay, this is one of our specials this year. It's called the Sweet Thoughts Bouquet, and you can order one of those. They come in a cube with 6 roses and filler and bear grass.
Wow!
And we're going to give this away today on your sport.
Tadpoll.
Tadpoll.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem. No problem.
On the Tadpoll, and the first person that types in the message box their favorite color of rose will get to win this, and Rachel's going to be the judge.
Okay, so do it right now. Get on that and type it in. The first one in here that comes into us gets this. And will you deliver? Do they have to pick it up?
They come in the flower shop anytime today or tomorrow and pick it up.
Okay, pick it up. All right, so do that right now. And the first one in there. All right, now, so you have something else you want to talk about.
The Chamber Main Street has these T-shirts, and we've had them for about a year and a half. And we are discounting them because we're trying to just go ahead and finish them so we can get something else. And so they're on sale for $10 the whole month of February. So
wow, how much are they?
$10.
Okay,
it'd be $10.98 with tax. And we sell them, or we have them at our store. They're Chamber money. All the money goes to Chamber. And Hares to You. No,
wow.
Yeah, Hares to You has them. Nikki Salmon's. So you can pick them up either place.
Okay, and be in style.
They're Phillipsburg, yeah.
Sure, yeah, right.
Phillipsburg shirt.
Okay.
Oh, look who our
we have
winner
a
is.
winner. Well, that was quick.
Yeah, Sarah Rudd.
All right, Sarah. Sarah Rudd is a winner, and she just stopped by.
Stop by the flower shop today or tomorrow and pick it up.
Pick this up. There. All right, very good. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us. And anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, and thank you for sponsoring. Being one of the sponsors here.
Yes.
We do appreciate
thank you for having us.
Okay, have fun. All right, Brenda Chanley with us morning. Blossoms and Butterflies, one of our good sponsors here on the show. And as I mentioned, we're going to try to have other sponsors on here on subsequent programs. Okay, let's go. I think Betty Johnson and Engel will be coming in to talk about this and strategic planning for Phillips County. That's off Northwest Kansas. We'll ask Betty about this. We'll have you have a seat here in Morris, Betty. And she drove all the way from Oberlin today to come in here with us. And she's, she got here. You had to leave a little early this morning.
I did. Betty. Doggone it. Okay. Doggone it.
Okay. Is that close enough for her there? Okay. And Morris Engel, of course. Before we talk about the strategic planning, a little bit about you. Betty, you live in Lawrence?
I live in Lawrence, Kansas.
Okay. How are things in Lawrence?
It's basketball season, so
things
are a lot better than it is in the football season.
Yeah, it sure is. But, you know...
we're a little shaky even right now, but we're okay. We're going to pull it out.
Okay.
We're going to pull it out.
Okay. Betty is our facilitator on the Hanson Strategic Planning. A little of your history. Where did you grow up?
Sure.
Are you a Jayhawker or a Kansan?
I grew up in Smith Center, Kansas, and went to school at Fort Hays State. I sit on the Fort Hays State Alumni Board.
Okay.
So I'm proud of being a Fort Hays Tiger, but I live in Lawrence now and have lived in Manhattan, so I do kind of support the K-State Cats as well.
Sure.
So I'm pretty diverse in that way.
Boy, you got Smith Center football and all and that.
I know.
I want to ask when you were going there.
Thank you.
Was the football program going pretty good?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then
No.
Roger Barty came in then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I was kind of like KU football.
Okay,
Smith Center
all
football
right,
was
all
kind of
right.
like KU football, so
Okay.
I'm used to that. I'm used to that. No winning football thing.
All right. And so you're living in Lawrence now. How do you get involved in what you're doing?
Sure. I actually left Kansas for about 6 years and moved to Indiana.
Okay.
And while I was back there, I connected with a guy that was a very good friend with Ed Morrison, and Ed Morrison is the man that created and kind of built and developed strategic doing. And I was able to get on the ground level of that and went to a lot of the planning sessions
Wow.
and strategy around putting strategic doing together. And just really became fascinated with it. I have done strategic planning through the years. And you put that plan together, you have a big notebook, you have great dreams and visions, and it never happens. And strategic doing is so active, so agile, and it's just quick success that you can really build on and go. And it's way more successful, and I just kind of hooked into that
Yeah.
because people can see it happening.
Sure, and we've had 2 meetings and good outpouring, I think, of people, cross section of.
Great. I don't remember how many we had. We had
About 50 each time.
yeah. Good cross reference of the county
You know,
of everybody.
and what you've done to facilitate. Okay, now how did Hanson get involved in this, and you and Hanson?
Sure. We actually over next door in Norton County. I was working with the Community Foundation over there, and we did. And it really wasn't a pilot at the time. It was just what we decided we needed to do for Norton. And we started doing the community-wide meeting and the county-wide meetings and pulling that off. And a couple Hanson board members came up to the meetings, and they were intrigued by what we were doing. So they said, would you consider doing that for the rest of the 26 counties? And I said, yeah, let's pilot it in 4 or 5 counties. And Hanson said, no, let's just go all 26 counties.
Wow.
So that's what we did, and that's what we're doing, and we're seeing repeated success across the areas.
Okay, so how do you get something like this started? You have to go to each county, and now I know here at the Phillips County Community Foundation is how you kind of got into.
Yeah.
Is that how you work with an organization in the county?
Pretty much in all the counties, I work directly with community foundations.
Okay.
There is currently a community foundation in every county.
Okay.
So, and that was an initiative of the Hanson Foundation, was to help those community foundations. They are really trying to build and create sustainability for the community foundations. So they're running a lot of their initiatives. Not all of the Hanson initiatives are through the foundations, but a lot of them are through community foundations. We also have a lot of economic development people that are also, the 2 organizations are working together in tandem in a lot of the counties, which is a perfect fit. It's a good partnership collaboration. So I go in and in this county, it's Morris. He does all the legwork. I literally just kind of drive in, run the meeting, and spend the night and leave town the next day. So Morris could tell you more about how they get set up and kind of that whole piece. But
I thought we'd talk a little bit about the different organizations. We did the last meeting. We had different things, show of hands, I think, and it came up with 6 different things we're working on.
Right, we have 6 work groups. So,
I just heard another one that's going to pop up.
yeah, well, that's
At least one more.
That's
Yeah.
outside the strategic doing, but
Yeah.
it's kind of following the same idea in
Really?
a way. So it's really kind of spreading and rippling, or however you want to say it. We have a community beautification group that's trying to touch every community in Phillips County. We have an effort to make better communication between the commissioners and all of the communities, especially the leaders, the mayors, city councils, so that everybody can coordinate efforts. We have a millennial work group that's starting. Kind of got off talking about mentoring millennials, but then they kind of changed their focus a little bit, and they said, let's just pull in the millennials and let's just start creating the community that they can dream about or would like to see. And in fact, I've brought you that poster. You
right.
could look at that. Improving and expanding the walking trails, because that is, especially in later life, that exercise is important. Housing, that seems to be a concern in every community throughout our county. And so that work group is going to do some assessment of what's available and what we need, and that could lead to some development projects. And then, of course, the Recreation Commission, a lot of interested families whose kids are involved in recreation throughout the summers and throughout the year want to help create a commission that would sort of coordinate everything.
Yeah.
So that's our 6 areas, and it's ambitious,
Yeah.
but it's doable.
Okay, so, and you come around and your facility, you get the people involved. I mean, that's your job. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
my
Get
job
them
is kind of
done.
help give them a process and a direction and get them kind of focused and get them some strategy and some steps so that they can go out in the next 30, 60, 90 days and start moving their project. So they're not planning, they're doing.
Sure.
They're assigned to go do things immediately. We're not going to sit around playing forever.
And I think that's the point, is the fact that a lot of the people get excited and then 6 months and everything, and then all of a sudden it just goes away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where this is. Keep
Yeah.
that push.
Keep that
going.
enthusiasm, keep that doing going instead of just talking and discussing. They're actually, everybody leaves with something to do, and you come back that next meeting, you've got it done, and you go, okay, we got this done. Now where do we need to go to get us to the next step, to get those to get that rec commission up, or that communication up. As I say, I've got several projects that are already done, that are completed.
Wow.
Across the 26 county area, and those groups are moving on. They're either expanding it further, or they're growing it, or taking off on another direction. So yeah, it's been fun to watch the communities take ownership and to take really just take action. It's been kind of fun to watch from my standpoint.
Sure.
Across.
And I stress again, this isn't just Phillipsburg. This is the county. It's a county. It's
26. Yeah, it's all of Phillips County, and hopefully eventually, once we get the counties up going and working, we've got some projects that are now starting to roll over into neighboring counties.
Wow.
So the whole. We can't keep Northwest Kansas straight and solid and growing county by county. It's got to be a regional effort eventually. We've got to start really looking. So some of the counties are actually starting to look beyond their county lines on some of their projects to go, okay, how does this affect our neighboring counties, and how do we expand our projects into the neighboring counties to spread? So that's kind of cool.
Well, and you sort of set up a model too, because some of the people are interested in trying to create a wellness center in Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they see how this works, then they can say, well, let's
Sure.
just make a community effort for that,
Sure.
and use the same idea.
Well, and that is one of the things that we're talking about on the Hanson side, is we're going to start doing some, and I don't know what the technology will be, webinars, Zoom, whatever. But we're going to start putting those together so counties can call in. Well, we'll have say rec commissions. Any county or community that wants to do a rec commission, call in. We'll have an hour or two where we'll have somebody on.
Wow.
Some of the counties that are a little further involved can talk about what they found, what they learned, and kind of really start sharing some of this information and really kind of
Yeah, I think that's
expanding
great,
that.
because
So we'll have a variety of topics we'll be rolling out.
some
to
of these are more
communities.
technical, and the
Yeah.
rec commission is,
Yeah.
legally and all that other stuff. So if they can network and say, well, we talked to so and so and it worked, and
Yeah,
all
share
that.
information,
Right.
ideas, what worked, what didn't, so we can get some.
I thought it was interesting. The first meeting where they listed, the advantages and the disadvantages
Yeah.
and everything. How many things came out
Yeah.
of that? There was a long list.
A lot of great things going on, and that came out very clear. I mean, people are proud, and there's a lot of good things going on out here. There's some issues, but those can be overcome.
So as a facilitator, let's keep things moving along. So we've had two meetings, and also going individual
Right.
groups now are having their meetings, and we'll come back again. And is it how many times you looked that you'll be coming back?
When do you get rid of me? I will be up here at least 4 times.
Okay.
And then actually, I just recommitted with the Hanson Foundation to go another year.
Okay.
So I'll be coming back at least 2 more times after that. So,
Okay.
but I'm here. I'm here by phone. If they want to
sure.
email, phone, I can come back in. I'm in the area so often that if
Yeah.
somebody wants to talk or chat or have another meeting, I'm here and available. As I told Hanson, I'm here to. Anything we can do to move projects forward, I can get back out here.
And I
Sometimes
talked to
quicker
Bennett.
than others.
Bennett last meeting. So you coming through? Well, let's see. She was in Oberlin. I can come through because you have a meeting somewhere this afternoon. So I
didn't-
appreciate you coming in.
Yeah. I live out here these days.
Okay.
I do have a Lawrence residence, but I do live out here. Let's be honest.
Okay. Well, do you have any notes? Anything you particularly wanted to talk about?
No, I did have one comment. I had a colleague that does strategic doing, and Bob does strategic doing up in Flint, Michigan, where they've had all the water issues, and they've used strategic doing. They're pretty active before in some of the low income, high risk neighborhoods. And they've done some amazing projects. But as they rolled into that whole water issue, strategic doing has really helped those communities figure out steps and what to do and actions. But he had a quote, and I just really liked it, and I've been using it since I got a hold of it. But it said, strategic doing creates hope through the power of taking action with assets or gifts that we all each individually possess. In that moment when we combine those assets, we begin to tell a new story of opportunity and possibility, which gives us the power to change our communities. And that just summed up ideally to me what strategic doing does. It's those individuals having the passion and the commitment to their own community, their piece of our big world, to make it what they want it to be. And strategic doing does that for them.
Well, it gets
And the
people
Hanson
together.
family,
I mean,
yeah.
it gets
Gets
the
them
people together.
talking in a
Yeah,
civil
yeah.
discourse where they can sit around and talk and get ideas and move forward. And you blend strategic doing with the opportunities that the Hanson Foundation is giving to those 26 counties, and it's amazing. It's just exciting to think what could happen
Very
when
fortunate.
people take extremely.
Very fortunate that Dane settled in Logan.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We are the envy of everybody.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. And I mean, again, I was going to have Sherry Bus on this morning to talk about their artwork, high school artwork next month.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I can't make it because we're having interviews for Hanson scholarships down there
Scholarships are
now,
going,
and the
yeah.
kids are bringing their painting. It's just a continuous thing going on down
Well,
there.
there's some great initiatives that'll roll out in the next month or so around some different activities that Hanson is going to be bringing to all the
Sure.
schools and the communities, and that's going to
Wow.
to be fun.
That's
I
amazing.
can't say exactly,
Sure,
but there's some
okay.
pretty cool stuff
Well,
that
we'll
they're
be-
going to announce in the next month or two for school and for non-school
You know,
around arts and culture.
I know when my son was in high school, he was interviewed for the scholars and for the Hanson, and then there were very, very few. And now they go clear down the line and clear all. I mean, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's that
now.
whole area, yeah.
whole area now. They have that to help on that. Looking back on all your strategic planning, any one thing that really sticks out and that really went well?
Project, I don't know that there's projects in particular. There's been several that have gone well, but I think what I've really enjoyed seeing are the communities coming together. We've had counties where two communities just don't talk
Yeah.
and won't come together and won't work together. Those communities are now sitting in the same room and they're talking. We're floating the meetings between the two communities, and people are coming to both community meetings.
Yeah.
That's probably when I look at the big picture, it's that people are sitting down and talking and coming together and putting together history, putting aside history in the past and looking forward.
Sure.
And that's the fun stuff.
Of course, that's a game plan of the whole thing. Isn't it?
And
people
it's
get
working.
together,
That's it's working.
You
That's
get a
kind of
little
fun.
strategic planning for the governments of the world.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, actually, now I've not been involved in it, but we've done strategic doing with both the federal and some of the different
Really?
departments
Okay, yeah.
in D.C. as well as some of the states. We've gone in and done a lot of good work within there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's doable.
Okay.
I'm sure when Ed gets the phone call, he would jump on it. Actually, strategic doing, Ed was a Washington bureaucrat. And he was so frustrated with sitting around in Washington talking and discussing, and he was like, we got to start doing, that was where the whole concept started really.
Really?
Yeah, it was
That's
sitting
great.
in Washington,
Yeah.
and that was 25 years ago.
I was ready to be thinking now.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
needs to
Yeah.
take it back.
Yeah, as I say, and he's been back working in some of the different departments and
Sure,
making
yeah.
some changes.
That's great,
So
yeah.
so there's hope.
Yeah.
There's always hope.
Okay. So you have a meeting. How much time do you spend every week out here somewhere?
Oh yeah, I'm out here every week. There's not a week doesn't go by that I'm not out here somewhere. And usually I'm out here 2 to 3 to 4 days depending on the week.
Finding good places to eat.
Lots of good places to eat. And I know when most of the gas stations close. Yeah. I know who has my diet soda that I like.
Yeah, okay. So, you're back in town. They say,
Yeah.
"Oh, hi again."
Yeah, it's amazing how many of them remember me.
Yeah. Well, anything else, Betty?
No, I just appreciate it. I appreciate the people, in Phillips County especially. They've really taken a hold and taken on, and it's they do the work. I just come in and help get them going and motivate them and kind of cheerlead to get them going. It's the locals that are doing the work.
Sure.
I'm just kind of coming in and pushing and nagging and cheerleading a little bit.
The first meeting you have in each county, is that a kind of a tough thing to do because or you just come in and do it?
Yeah, and you never know who's going to show up or how many or
Sure,
what's going to
yeah.
happen. I'm always amused and amazed at the projects. Like I was over in St. Francis last night, and they came out with 8 projects.
Wow.
And it was amazing, the different projects and all the excitement around it. So.
We might talk just a little bit about how you arrived at the projects you do.
Sure.
Okay. So
We do that first meeting where we kind of analyze and get a picture of where people are at, and we get ideas and concepts. Then I kind of take all that data. I come back that second meeting and let the people in the room decide what projects go forward. So the Community Foundation they had no input really. No guidance direction. We just said, okay, what do you guys want to work on? What's your interest? What are your projects? And if we can get at least, 2, 3, 4 people, and upwards of, I think we had one group that had 15.
I
in
think
it.
recreation
Yeah,
had
that was
a
a
large
big one.
number.
Yeah,
large
right.
number.
So if there's a group that wants to take a topic and a project and move it forward, it's a group. It can go. It's all self-identification, self-go. So
Millennium.
it's that ownership thing.
Yeah, they've here the Millennium community. They've already.
Well, they had their brochure out that night.
I know.
I mean, they were doing while we were talking. That was great.
It's really amazing how they've done that. I think I'm on the recreation, and I think we meet the 20th. I think
Yeah.
which should be.
Well, that millennial group is an interest across the 26 areas, and I've got 3 other communities wanting to know how this goes because they want to follow whatever Nick's doing. So and his committee. So I'm sure that'll be a fun conversation. That
Sure.
they're all going, how do we get millennials?
I think the focus shifted from mentoring, older people mentoring, to saying, hey, let's just get the millennials together and let them start
Yeah.
working. So we'll have that.
Yeah, so they're excited
be
to
a-
see. They're also excited to see the child care program. That's the initiative
Right,
that's going on here in Phillips County.
Sure.
Child care is a big issue across the 26 counties, and everybody's kind of watching
Sure.
Phillips County right now to
Yeah.
see because they're hoping to model and learn from
right.
what you all are doing with your child care initiative up here. So.
Nick, I had him on last week, and they're looking by fall to have their going
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
There's many aspects to it: the financing, the recruiting of the staff,
Regulations.
the regulations, the volunteers, finding a location, and it's really beginning to gel now, move forward.
And it's people doing it.
Yeah.
It's important.
It's a
thing.
big one. It's saying a lot of communities are watching and hoping to learn from Phillips County to see what they're doing so that they can speed the process up a little bit and learn from you guys and miss some of the missteps. So.
Do you find though now, like you say, Hanson hired you for another year? I mean, after everything get going, then are there other counties in? I mean, in the future that you'd be doing, or would you be?
Hanson really only works in the 26.
Okay.
So unless, as far as working with Hanson, I just stay with those 26
Okay.
counties and work those 26.
Okay. And if
I do know the rest of the state is kind of watching to see,
sure.
To see if they can kind of do what's going on out
sure.
here. So I get phone calls from other counties to say, hey, can we do something like that? So.
but the funding has to be there and everything,
Yeah.
and they'd have to have someone like Hanson.
Well, and we tell them Hanson will fund some of these projects, but we encourage them to go find other funding and
Sure.
other opportunities, and some of the projects don't need funding.
Yeah.
I've had several projects come up and they just needed a planning and a structure to get off the ground and going, and Strategic Doing did that for them. So, but they don't want money.
Yeah.
And the other groups go, yay!
Okay,
They're excited.
All right.
Good, more money for us.
Anything else, Betty?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Thanks,
You wrote here. You have
right.
something?
I just
you're
wanted to
more-
put a plug in for the e-center.
No. Okay.
Is that okay to go ahead and do that?
Go,
right
yeah,
now?
let's do it right now.
Okay, well, we have, our goal was to expand our services, and the e-center is a room right by my office in the Fisher Building. It's set up in a classroom forum style, and we've had some computers in the past that have been used in training sessions and instructional, but we needed to expand so that every student had a computer to use during a. So we put in for an expansion grant through the Hanson Foundation,
Absolutely,
and we were lucky enough to receive that. So now we have a total of capacity for 22 participants in our e-center. And we also then created a workstation so that if someone, even if they're already in business, they want to learn more about taxes, marketing plan, putting a loan application together, whatever, we've got a dedicated cubicle there with a computer, a printer, and access to the online libraries with the SBA and that sort of thing. And so anyway, we've got that set up, and we wanted to just kind of celebrate that. So next Friday, a week from this Friday, we're having an open house from 11 to 2. Just come in, take a quick look, have a cookie or a drink, and just see what's available. And we're a resource for the county. The city has used us for a training site. TAMCO uses us for a training site. We have our own seminars that we sponsor. We've got a Word Outlook sessions coming up to help. If you've been out of the workforce for a while and you're just not quite sure of computers,
Or if you're still in the workforce,
Yeah.
you still
yeah,
can't
yeah,
come up with
yeah,
the
right.
technology.
we're going to have a 4-session seminar on Word and Outlook to kind of help people get back into the workforce if they want to
Sure.
be.
Yeah.
Got a QuickBooks class scheduled, one on customer service, and then an interesting one is computers for seniors. And so, it's not just an email or, to get on and do some other things.
It does more.
It's not just a mailbox. It's kind of
Us older people.
absolutely.
My granddaughter who's 26 and said, "Grandpa, you text?" She was surprised that I knew how to text, And I said, "Yeah, I text, but there's a lot that I don't know what goes on, and I wish I knew how."
My smartphone's way smarter than me.
Yeah. I call on Rachel a lot to help me with my smartphone here.
when you-
How do I do this? And she shows me.
If you want to program your TV, call a
right,
third
yeah.
grader.
Yeah, exactly.
That e-center really is something special. The fact that we do have that possibility to do it, and it's rentable. And
Yeah, right, exactly. And if an instructor, they can bring in their presentation on a zip drive, or they can use their own laptop. We have an overhead projector, so the whole class can see everything. And it's really a great resource, and we're just... We're even bigger and better now, so we want to invite
very good.
people to come in next Friday from 11 to 2.
Okay, a week from tomorrow, 11 to 2, come in, and you're going to have a little bit of
You bet.
goodies
You
there.
got it. There might be some Valentine cookies left over, so we'll use
You
those.
know what I like about the facilitator meetings? There's always food there too.
Yeah,
There's
there's always good food there.
Strategic
Yeah.
plan.
Well, they've been generous with a little bit of a startup budget
Yeah,
for
okay.
us, so we can run some ads
Sure.
and have some refreshments.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And
well, keep up the good
All
work.
righty,
That's
will
really
do.
great. I really enjoy.
Well,
and
good.
again,
Well, thank you.
another question: if someone hasn't got involved, can they get involved?
They can.
Still.
They can. Contact the community foundation and connect with Morse, and we can get it. We can get them involved. We can get, if there's a group they want to work on, if there's a group they want to start, we can get a group started as
Sure,
well. So
okay.
it's an ongoing. We understand people can't always get to meetings, but they have a project and they've got a handful of people. We can get that project up and going and get them going and doing.
So if any of you are having coffee in the morning, say, "Why don't we do this?" Well, find out how
Call
to do
Morris,
it.
we can do
Call
that.
Morris,
We
and
can
we'll
get
do
it
it.
going.
2 friends, and we'll get her going.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Thank you. You
Little
have a
bit
good
of-
trip.
All righty.
Where are you heading today?
Manhattan.
You going to Manhattan?
Manhattan today, so.
K-State got a win last night over Texas.
They did. That was a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big one. They
3-point
needed that one.
Yeah. All right. Again, Betty Johnson with this morning. Also, Morris. Did we get everything, Morris, you want to talk about this morning? Okay, fine. We're going to be talking with Anna and Cody in just a moment here. A reminder that the program brought to you here at Tadpoll every Thursday morning by all your friends at the Farmers State Bank in Phillipsburg, where interest begins the moment you enter the door. Interest in you. Mapes and Miller, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Mid-America Real Estate, providing the best homes in the area for over 40 years. Blossoms and Butterflies. We had Brenda on this morning. They make beautiful flowers a part of your life, and of course, they're really involved now with Valentine's Day. And Sarah Rudd was the winner of the nice combination of roses you see in front of us here this morning. Sign Solutions, your one-stop sign shop, and so much more. Madison Motors, in business for over 70 years. Rogers Associates, your local trusted choice agency. All right, we're going to talk about extension. We had Cody on last week, and what are we talking about? Put you first today.
Okay,
And
I get to go
what are we
first.
talking about?
We're having the Preserving the Family with Estate Planning, and it's going to be, it's a Northwest Regional meeting. So we have basically several agents that are both agriculture and family consumer science that have worked together to put this program. We've done it now for 4 years, I believe.
I believe so.
And so it keeps growing every year, and we really feel like there's every family, whether you're farm, small business, just an individual, needs to do estate planning. And quite often we just think it's farm.
Yeah, right.
But it's everybody. Everybody needs it. So we're going to have one here at Phillipsburg on February 22nd. and it's we kind of have an agenda here. At 5:30, we're going to have a meal, and it's going to be an excellent meal. We have we have Cody, Rachel, and I are planning on making the meal for you.
Okay.
So,
Wow. All right.
but it's going to be chili and cinnamon rolls, and then some fruit and vegetables.
Okay.
So, but
Noodle soup.
oh, and chicken noodle soup if you don't like chili too.
Okay,
So
all right,
we'll
all
have
right.
it all. But yes,
Okay. The date again? When is that?
February the 22nd.
Okay.
So at 5:30, and online on the Phillips Ricks Facebook page, you can go and find the brochure, and you can go to the Phillips Ricks web page, and it's the brochures on there, and or you can come to the office, pick one up. We have some at the different banks and some places. You can pick those up and
Sure.
send in your registration.
Someone like me, I'll go try to pick one up because the web. I'm not too successful with the web.
Not do that. So.
Okay, but it's good you have that there. You know.
And cost on that, Tad, I know you'll probably get to this, but we are promoting it as a family
Sure.
to come as the family. So for the first person, it'll be $20, and then each additional person, $15 for
Okay,
each
sure.
additional person there. And they need to register together at the same
Sure.
time. But we really want to
Right.
try to get the family members there together, and hopefully in the vehicle as they leave to go home, they'll start talking about
Sure, right.
the next steps anyway.
Okay, now what's the is there a deadline on
So we do
registration?
We do registration deadline is February 16th.
Okay.
For the early bird, we can take them after, but we wouldn't guarantee a meal.
A meal.
And that,
Okay.
so-
So what do you find out? What are people most worried about? I know I would be most worried. I was having enough money to make it to the end.
Right, right, and that's important. But there's things that that's been in your family for years and generations, and passing those on down is important. That would be kind of for those that don't have a lot of assets to pass somewhere, but you want them to go. You don't want them necessarily just to go to an auction. Sorry about that, Cody, but but no, you have certain things that you'd like to pass down. We have a family trunk that came from Germany, and so it came over, and we
Came
want that.
over as an immigrant, right?
Right. And so it's
Wow.
been passed down through the family. And so, we want that to stay within the family. We don't want it to just be sold at an auction somewhere. So there's things like that, all the way to having your family farm or family business, which you want it to go to who you want it to go to. And you want to figure, that out, and you need to do it with the family, because quite often, and that's the way our family was, we have mom and dad, of course, had the farm. My brother graduated from K-State and came back to the family farm. My sister and I both graduated from K-State, put a little plug in here. But
They won last night, too.
Yes, they
They said
did.
this,
But we graduated from K-State. I took one. I went into teaching. My sister actually went into teaching in Wisconsin. So we were not on the farm, but yet, the farm was still
Sure.
important to
Right,
us.
yeah.
But, you need to talk as a family to know. My parents wanted to be fair. And sometimes when somebody's on the farm making their living from that, you can't always necessarily be fair. There's
Right.
other ways to do that.
Right, yeah.
So, and that's discussed. Questions like that can be answered, discussed, and such.
Well, it's better to have it discussed beforehand and afterwards, when the family
Right.
gets together. And I've heard stories, horror stories
Oh,
about
yes.
things, I want that. Well, my mom promised me that, and all that kind of
Yes.
thing, how that goes. So have
Right.
that done ahead of time.
Yes, it's very important to have that done ahead of time. So, because you don't want your family torn apart,
Sure.
and that's quite often can
Sure,
happen.
right.
But yes, and so we try to bring up things that you can do, you can start doing now. Probably the biggest problem people have with estate planning is actually getting started, because it's, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, or I'm not old yet. I'm, but
Yeah.
it's not applying to me, and it's hard to think about what's, about death and what's going to happen. And so if you don't think about it, it's not going to happen. But then that can lead you in a spot where, the family ends up being torn apart after you left because you didn't do anything. And it's better if you all get together and talk about it.
You talk about getting involved with, on these after death. When you have that estate, the state gets involved. The state of Kansas gets involved,
Yes.
Do you talk about that too,
Yes.
on how, which way to go so the whole thing doesn't end up in the state?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do have, I actually get to lead off the evening with getting started in estate planning. It's kind of been one of my passions, I guess you'd say. When I first got into Extension, the director of our area said, pick something that you're passionate about and, work in it. And at the time, I just had come off of my mother had passed away, and then a year later my husband had passed away, and going through all of that, it became kind of a passion for me, just because I was going through it. So I lead off the evening with getting started in estate planning. What do you need to do, and so on. And then we have a lawyer that is in estate planning coming. So that's a good person that you can visit with, talk to, ask questions about, and she knows the legal parts. But yes, if you don't do anything, the state of Kansas steps in and does it for you. And it may not be at all what you want.
And that attorney's clock has not started at
Yes.
the evening out there, so you can
Exactly.
get some of those questions answered.
It's one of those, hey,
That's right.
hey, lawyer,
Correct. So,
Okay.
That's a good point.
Like
Yes.
you won't be getting a statement from me. You won't get any of that
Correct,
at that
yeah.
meeting.
Not
That's
at that
good. That's a good
meeting,
idea.
so,
Yeah,
right.
it really is. So if you have some questions, that's the way to do it.
Yes.
Like my son, I've told this before. My son he'll be at a gathering or something, and someone will come up and say, "Hey, Doc." He said, "Hey, Doc." They will ask, "I've got this pain in my shoulder at the party or whatever."
Right.
How that goes. So okay. So again, the statistics. Do it. You can pick this up. Get on the
Yes.
internet.
Yes,
Or
you
the
can get on
website.
the website, or we have the brochures around. I mean, if you can't find one at one of the banks, I think all three of them have it. Some of the other places have it too, but
That's the easy way.
yeah, it's, or you can come into our office and pick it up. We have them there, and you can just mail it in now. You could bring it back into our office if you don't want to mail it. So either way, it does not necessarily come to our office because this is an area. You would make your checks out to KSU and then put estate planning down in the 4.
Yeah, I might suggest if you already maybe have some of your planning done, still attend, because it kind of bring you up to date on what's going on. I would recommend that. Even if you have pretty much what you want to do, doesn't hurt to get more information.
And I know throughout doing this, they do recommend, even if you got it set up however many years ago, they want you to review that and look back at it. So I know we've had attorneys that definitely have said that in the past, and I know we'll sure hit on that
Laws
again.
change and everything.
Yes,
and all
laws
that.
change all the time.
Okay,
And
so
and
I'd
it's-
recommend that, and you can't be too young to do it either, can you?
Oh, no. And, young families, you need to be looking at it. And yes, maybe you have not accumulated much, but you possibly have a child. You need to make sure and take care of those kids. Who do you want them, raising those kids?
Right.
And so there are things that you need to do even if you haven't accumulated much.
And I'd recommend if your family's around, come. come to that. Like you said, you're on your way home, you can talk about it, but kind of get some feeling on how things should be done on that. That's a great idea.
And we really do push communication within the family
Sure.
because that's what it takes. And sitting down, visiting, okay, what are we going to do? And, communicate, talk about. And so it's very important to do that as.
Yes. I try to get my family to come back and start, but I can't. Don't worry about it. We'll do that sometime. Well, sometime goes into sometime, So
Right.
else.
Right.
So she really should be doing. That's great. Okay.
Right.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Do you have any classes? Any classes coming up?
Oh, yes and no. I just seem to be busy all the time.
Yeah,
but
I know
yes.
it. Yeah.
She's finally taking a break, or maybe wrapping up the meals under pressure, or the
yes.
That was
pressure
my
cooker.
question.
So-
Are these? You see these half-hour ads on TV, and are they really a good deal now? These pressure things, are they really good?
Yes,
'Cause I've been thinking-
they're electric pressure cookers. That's what the name is. A lot of people call them Instapots. Now, Instapot is actually a brand of
Okay.
electric pressure
Okay, okay,
cookers.
okay.
But yes, they are for a very busy family, home cooked meals. They are wonderful. It actually cooks with steam and pressure, so it's a very healthy way of cooking, and you can go from getting a frozen roast out after you get home from work, putting it in one of those electric pressure cookers, and in usually an hour and a half you'll have a roast. And you can do potatoes, like for mashed potatoes, in 8 minutes in those. Now, granted, you have to include in the roast part, I already included the pressure up and slow release on that.
But
So.
you also say you put French fries and stuff in there. How's all that?
Oh, not in the electric pressure cooker.
That must be the new wave there.
Yeah.
I
The new
bet.
wave?
But-
Okay, all right. See,
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot.
I'll stick with the
you can't-
microwave.
There you go. But, no.
You can't put, no, you can't deep fat fry.
Okay, well,
in them,
I've
but-
seen them advertise, where you do all this kind of stuff, but the pressure, like the old kind that had the things you put down, and then the top would blow and everything go on the ceiling, right?
Yeah,
Those were really
it's-
dangerous, weren't they?
Yeah,
Those could be
you had to
dangerous.
watch. You had to be there. You had to watch those. You can't be on your phone. You can't be watching the TV, talking to a neighbor. You need to be watching those. These, they have 10 safety features in, so they're really pretty safe. If something's going wrong, they shut down automatically. So they are pretty safe, and they do come in a lot of different sizes. I have a 2-quart one, which is perfect for a single person because they say figure 1 quart per person. And so I have a 2-quart one. I also have a 6-quart one, and that's what most people get, and that's what fits most family, and that's what the recipes that you see are geared for.
Did they give you a recipe book when you get that, though, or how do you?
Yes.
Or can you go with anything?
Yeah, they come with one, but a lot of those recipes, I don't know how to say it nice. They don't fit me. I
Okay,
guess.
all
So
right, yeah.
You
And-
kind of
yeah.
Can you
develop.
get books? Oh, I mean,
Oh,
can
oh,
you?
yeah. You
Or
can.
you can. Anything would use a pressure cooker. Basically.
One of the things that I teach in my class is how to convert your own recipes, which
Okay,
is very
sure.
simple.
All right.
You use your recipe and find another recipe in one of those books on how to cook it, or in your instruction book, and then use the directions on cooking it, but use your recipe. Like meatloaf.
Sure.
You like a certain kind of meatloaf. You like yours. Make your meatloaf, cook it in the directions that another meatloaf is, so that you're actually converting yours.
And you said they're healthy because it keeps everything in the food. Is that what happened? That a lot
Yes.
of the stuff doesn't come out
Yeah.
like cooking on them over the.
Yes, they're healthy. It's steam cooking. It's not sitting in liquid. It's not sitting in fat. It's being steamed, so it's a very healthy and very quick method of cooking. Cody says that, what is it on how the food flavor, what happens with the food flavor in the pressure cooking, that it's actually goes into the food rather than comes out.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, and I believe it. It's very, it's excellent. So we need to get you one, Tad.
I received one, not this Christmas, but the Christmas before. My brother-in-law and I both got one from our mother-in-law, and I tell you, we use it all the time. So especially for
Okay, sure.
basketball season or fast-paced lives, it's been a lifesaver
Sure.
for
Okay,
certain.
very good.
So,
All right.
oh.
Okay, what else? What do you want to talk
So
about?
yes, I know I hit on it a little bit last week there,
Yeah.
but on February 14th, Valentine's Day, we have a Kurt Thompson and Dallas Peterson, our two extension weed specialists. They'll be at the fair building from 1:30 to 4:30, and the topic of it is those challenging weeds, weed management update. So as we talk there, I know there's several producers that are needing the dicamba training. It's a herbicide that if they're going to be using it on extend crops. So this will qualify you for the training that you're needing there. It's free of charge to attend this. So again, that's Wednesday, February 14th, 1:30 to 4:30. Phillips County Fair Building. Topics, the dicamba applicator training for the extend crops, weed control updates for field crops. We talked last week the Palmer amaranth or the pigweed, as well as the kochia or tumbleweed, fireweed. We're going to hit on several of those research that they've done with it. And of course, bring your questions, and if you have specific problems you've been having on your operation, definitely bring those out, and we'll see if we can't get you a plan in place, hopefully.
Valentine's Day, all right.
That's right, and we'll get you out of there. It's 1:30 to 4:30, so we'll get you out of there in time to get on that romantic date, or if you need to run by and get some flowers still later on that
Don't
day.
take any social or anything like that.
That's
Just
right.
Take flowers.
That's
all
right.
Okay.
That's right. So,
Okay. And then again, your meeting coming up is very. And again, I'd recommend. This is all available now for people to learn about things. Like all your cook. I'll be reading. Oh, Hannah's doing something on this in Logan or something, and this and that. It keeps you busy.
Yes.
One last question. You're both from Rooks County.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get involved in? I know you were a teacher first at home. She used to have the best Panther Classic. The coaches would come to the Panther to bring their team because of what the hospitality room had. You remember that?
Yes,
I mean,
I
she had
got
the
that
best
all the time,
hospitality
yes.
room. The wrestling too, but the main thing was the food you had there. And then you got in the extension. How'd you get over in the extension? What made you make?
Well, I actually, when I graduated from K-State, was actually looking for an extension
Okay.
job at that point.
Okay.
And I hadn't had student teaching yet, and they kind of recommended that. So I did my student teaching here in Phillipsburg, and the job came open at that time. And so I loved teaching, and so I just stayed there for 34 years. And so
Wow.
when this position came open and I could retire from teaching, I'm back to what I really
Sure, well,
started
that's
to
good.
do.
Okay,
So,
that's great
yeah,
then.
that's
But I miss those Panther Classic. It wasn't only the fact it was good. There was plenty of it. That's what. And I know you heard that the coaches would all come in and I went to a lot of hospitality rooms around, and I was you had a great hospitality room.
it's always important to me to make sure you have good food and and plenty, because that's our social life.
Sure, you're
But
right.
that I had a lot of coaches, I had a lot of refs and bus drivers tell me
referees too,
that
yeah.
they recommend it.
Yeah.
And that was one way that I could promote our school
Sure.
and our town, our community, is by people saying, "Oh, you need to go to Phillipsburg,"
Yeah.
and so
It
that's
was
my
that, and
small little thing that I could do.
And the referees talked about it. Yeah, I'm always back in. Same referees every year.
Right.
Yes.
And how'd you get in?
So I started out. I wanted to be a FFA advisor.
Okay,
And
all right.
so went to majored in that, and then had a change. I guess I switched over to animal science while I was at K-State, and then. Before that year that I graduated in December, got engaged. Well, Rachel was teaching here, and timing, was everything. This position opened up, and applied for it, and we've been here since. So.
Okay, so and how's it working now? The counties, because of funding and everything, you're going together. You see, maybe 2 or 3 counties doing something.
Right. So there's more of that across the state,
Sure.
Tad, and I think there's probably going to be more
Yeah.
doing
It's
that
funding,
as
you know.
well.
I mean,
So it
bottom
is.
line and money, isn't it?
Money.
We just came. We had our partnership meeting, and budgets they're not good. It's
Yeah,
very ugly in that case, and they're actually going to be calling back some more money that K-State sends to us. So it's a lot of the local our boards have had to make up for that, and we've had to make adjustments. But you're right. We see more and more of the districts forming because of the budgeting for sure. So
Maybe the legislature will change a little bit. I know. We've been on a.
right.
I'm not going to get political.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
want to do that.
All right. Well, anything else? I'm glad you
So,
took time to stop in, and I'll have to investigate. The only thing I hate about these half-hour, have you ever called in on those things?
I never have.
Okay, you call in. Number one, it's for everything in 1999. I don't care what it is. It's a brand new car or something. It's 1999 or 4 payments of 1999.
Right.
Anyway, okay, you call in, and it's all right. Well, hey, we can upgrade you. We upgrade for another $10. I said, I'm not interested. I just want this. I said, all right. Well, now here, if you could get a second one for just pay that postage and handling, which is about the same thing as if you would buy the thing.
Right.
So
Right.
I have. I'm not usually do it. I have known to say forget it and just hang up. I don't even want to do it because they just will not let you get what you want to get. Anyway, that's my gripe for the day.
Very good.
Okay, I'll let you guys
Thank
go.
you, Ted. Appreciate
I
it.
hope you have a
too.
good meeting. Yeah. All right, we're going to talk about the government of Phillipsburg. We're going to be talking to the mayor here in just a little bit. A reminder that the Tadpoll brought to you by Phillips County Health Systems, all of Bovey Memorial Chapel, Stephen E. Russ, your State Farm agent, Sonic Drive-In, like us on Facebook to see our Sonic deals, Phillipsburg Chamber and Main Street, where the roads are paved with opportunity, Farmers and Ranchers Outlet, J&R HIVAC R, the First National Bank and Trust proudly supporting Panther Athletics. From the sales floor to your delivery doors, see Jim and Terry at all of Bovey Furniture and Appliance, where they provide gracious living for less. Sunburst Realty LLC, where you find the best homes under the sun. Professional Family Eye Care, see Dr. Juneman for all of your eye care needs. Coombs Trucking, you call, we haul. Wyman Firestone, tire sales and service, backing the youth of Phillips County, and Biggs Insurance for all of your auto, home, business, farm insurance needs. Okay, we're going to talk about government here a little bit. Lance is with us. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
One
One
month,
month today. So,
How's the
so if we're
month?
going to talk a lot about government, you've got an inexperienced government official here. So,
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to. But I talked with you quite a bit before you ran and everything, and it sounded like you had the ideas. Let's talk a little bit about Lance first. Okay. Graduate of Phillipsburg High School, went away.
1978.
Now, what brought you back to Phillipsburg? And you've been around the world,
Yeah, been overseas. Been Jakarta's 10 million people, Houston 4 million people.
Yeah.
And mid-size in Bartlesville and Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Sure. Okay.
But
What?
I have
made you
family
come-
here. One, I
Okay.
mean, I loved my growing up years here. I had a lot of people that influenced me. I could reel off probably a dozen names right now of people that had a big impact on my development as a human being. So, and there's a lot of them are still here.
Yeah.
And I've always loved this community. I love to hunt, fish.
Yeah, sure.
Baseball was a
Yeah.
big impact on me. So I don't know if you've heard the lines to that Tim McGraw, Humble and Kind. But it talks about when you get to where you're going, don't forget to turn around.
Yeah. Right.
And I've turned around.
Okay.
I'm back where I came from, and I hope to help the next one in line, as the song goes. So that's kind of why I'm back here. I want to get involved.
I wish more would come back, and
We're working on it.
yeah, okay, right. I know the strategic planning. I had opportunities to go elsewhere, and I was the kids, graduated here. And it's a good community, and not just this part of the country is really good, and everything. So you came back here, and you're responsible for me being here on a Thursday and Saturday morning.
We happened to
You heard something I said.
We happened to take advantage of an opportunity of being next door to the bakery when
Yeah.
you did your hors d'oeuvres, after hour hors d'oeuvres. And,
Yeah.
and I just asked Rachel real quick. I said, "Can we use our internet and be able to stream you?" And I think
I didn't know that.
And I think it's still one of our highest videos.
Really?
Is
Okay. And
your after hours thing. So.
and it's still on there.
Yeah. Wow, that's the beauty of it.
And when I was in New York, I could watch what was going on here. It's amazing. Anyway,
And that's what I want to touch on that a little bit when we talk about economic development, because I think the internet and streaming levels the playing field with the big cities, because you can virtually live anywhere and do some things for
Sure,
big
right.
corporations. And we are very fortunate to have fiber optic here and high-speed internet in our town that levels the playing field with some of the other cities. So I'm hoping to take advantage of some of that and get some stuff going there.
okay. What made you want to become mayor?
Well, it's like helping out. I was asked by several people to run, and I thought about it for a couple of months. Whether I'm retired, I didn't know,
Yeah.
but I love this town. I really do, and I want to see it do good, and I want to see it grow. I left. The population is around 3,500. I think we're
25
approaching
now.
2,500. I don't want to see us decline in population. I want to see us to get back to growth. And there are some things that we can do. And I think I can use some of my background to help out there. We've got a lot of smart people in this town that are stepping up. And we'll touch a little bit on our economic development advisory board we're putting together. But I'm looking forward to helping out. Mainly, that's why I ran.
Okay, and I don't know. And the thing of it is, you couldn't be on the ballot. And you want to tell why you couldn't be on the ballot? Because
Well,
you were still had residences.
I was trying to run. See, I had my Phillips County online, and I had my Overland Park online, and I was trying to get that going. But I was spending a lot of time out here just because I love being out here. And anyway, I decided I think you had to file by June 1st. Is that it? Was it? I think June 1st is the deadline that you had to file. And I still had a house out there.
No.
And I didn't want people to sit there and say, well, he has a house out in the eastern part of Kansas, and he has one here. Where's his,
Right, and that makes sense, really.
And I sold it in July. And after I sold it, I had a couple people ask me to run. Actually, several, and then from there, I decided in September to put my name forward. So
Okay, well,
that's how it worked out.
okay, and right in, you're there. Okay, now, so a month ago today, you
Took
were
the oath.
sworn in
Yep.
as mayor of Phillipsburg. What, everyone has, when they run, they have things you want to do. What was some of the things why you wanted to be mayor?
Well, one of it is to grow it. I mean, economic development. I wanted, we had I think it was the last time I was on the shows. We kind of had, we called it a debate, but it was really our position on certain things that Pat and I discussed. One is I want to grow the community, and I want to make it millennial friendly. Millennials are those that I think it's like 18 to 34, 35, somewhere in age. How can we bring those back? And you had Betty and Morris on earlier. Well, one of the initiatives that we're undertaking is the millennial development that Nick Poles is working on, and Bethany. They're doing a great job kind of leading it.
Yeah, they really got on that.
And and we're meeting, I think February 15th is our first meeting over at the coffee shop. And we're going to sit down with a group of millennials and start identifying those things that will keep the people in town. So,
Sure. Okay.
so those are a couple of things.
Transparency.
Oh yeah, transparency is kind of what I was my platform. I want to be transparent everything that we do in government. So I hope you're realizing through the increase in communications from the city. We got city minutes going on with Tim. At every city council meeting so far, they talk about some things. I think as an advocate for the people, I say, well, you need to let them know what's going on. Sure. So it's it's taxpayers' money. They pay our wages. No, they don't pay. We don't make anything, but and we need to make sure they're aware of everything that we're working on. So one of the things we're developing is a 5-year plan on streets, infrastructure, water infrastructure, sanitation, things that we want to do in those areas, and then communicate that out to the people on what we're going to be accomplishing or trying to accomplish. And there's going to be some that we're going to have to ask for funds possibly. We're going to try to go after grants and all that type of stuff as much as we can, to where I don't want increased taxes. Nobody wants increased taxes. So, but we got to look for ways to pay. We got some tough decisions to make on some streets, because our street lives are going downhill. We got that great project that Pat and Tim and James got going, Mike, with the Department of Transportation, that you'll see going into, I think it's April 2019 was when it'll be completed.
Is that? We may have talked about this last week, and I had Tim on. We were talking about water and the delivery of water in the city. On this project through town, is that going to? Are they going to have it figured out so it doesn't completely close down the street?
Oh, yeah, they'll make it to where they're doing the design bid coming up, so we'll see. But I would guess they would keep 2 lanes open on both sides,
sure,
and not tear the whole thing up. I think Mankato, they did that whole entire down through town, and I think they kept 2 lanes open. So
you about have to.
I mean, you don't want to detour around residential areas.
Right,
so
that's for sure.
But it's going from the city limits all the way up to the alley of Love's, where Love's is, in the car wash. That'll be the first phase, and then that includes all the water infrastructure.
Is that a 90-10 thing? 90 state, 10 city?
Well, we
a lot of them are.
We put it. It's going to cost us $160,000, and I think $93,000 of that is water.
Well, they're going to put new water underneath of
Yes.
It makes sense.
Yeah. You want to do it while it's torn up.
Right.
You want to do it later after it's done.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so some of the things, the duties of you mentioned salary and everything, and I'm going to embarrass you maybe a little bit here to mention the fact that you are going to work with what you would be getting, and I think is that $3,000 or $4,000 a month you get for being mayor?
Right. We get the mayor. I think the mayor gets $75 a meeting, and the council members get $50.
Okay,
I think.
But you're going to get something going with
and what I've done is just take my money and actually gave it to Morris at the Community Foundation, and we were going to set up a I suggested a name of City of Phillipsburg Leadership Scholarship. What I'd like to see it go towards, and I'll ask the council for their input, but what I'd like to see it go for is someone who's coming back to the community, and that we can help pay for their schooling in some fashion. Now, whether we do that afterwards, it's kind of hard to do it as they're going, because you're not sure if they're going to come. But if they come back, have that money go to them, and getting them set up in whatever business they want to get set up in, help pay for schooling. So.
Okay. I'm going to say one thing now. Someone out there heard me say 2,000 to 3,000, and you're going to pass that around at the coffee table. You do not make 2,000 or 3,000 a month. I just want to be sure that's clear. that someone does say, "Well, Tad said they make that." I didn't. I was joking. All right, let's go.
It's 150 a month if you only get paid if you attend the meetings.
Okay, all right.
So,
okay. What are some of the duties you're doing? What are you involved in doing now?
So what I've done, what we've worked on as a one of the things I had to do, we had a lot of appointments that hadn't been made in a while on some of the boards and commissions, so I've got those all filled other than one. I'm still looking for a zoning appeals, board of zoning appeal board. I need a person for that. They need to live inside the city limits. So if there's any listeners out there who want to get involved in service, please contact me. There is actually they're having a meeting on somebody that's wanting to do some things that goes against what the planning commission's already established. We did name 3 people to the planning commission.
Okay.
We got those
So
approved last meeting. So you got John Wyman Jr., Jesse Fort Miller, and Rhonda Kazee going on that commission. And we've got some others that have been established as well. So, and then the other thing we did was we got the city council committee established. And, in the past, I don't think they've met very often, but I'm making sure that Tim Driggs, our public works supervisor, is vetting out what his plans are with those. We have one for water and for streets and sanitation is one, alley and lights. That's all together. And then also I've set up this economic development advisory board as a new one, and I got that approved at the last one by the council. And so I'm busy out there trying to find my representatives for it. These are hand-picked people.
Now, what do you look for that to do?
Well, what I want the Economic Development Advisory Board to do, it provides a structure and framework for the city and county people, leaders. If your business leaders are not all moving in the same direction and understand and communicate together, you're going to fall flat on your face. And there wasn't really a structure or framework for that to take place. That's what this Economic Development Advisory Board does. So we have Nick Poles on there from the county. We have a county commissioner on there. We have Morris. We have the chamber and Angie. We had the mayor on there. And then we're going to have representatives from agriculture, finance, health care. And I haven't talked to Mike Gary yet, but I want somebody from education on there. All those things that are critical for a city to be successful and to grow it. And so that's what this board's about. And they're going to provide policy recommendations as well as projects that the city can take on to increase economic development in Phillipsburg. So it's a Phillipsburg focus. So it's not a duplication of effort with the county.
Right.
Nick's got the county. We happen to be inside the county.
Yeah.
We are a resource. We may be funneling some projects towards him as well. So
And that's brand new, isn't it?
that's brand new.
Okay, very good.
But that's one of the things I ran on was how to do. Millennials fall into that. So here's what's great about it. You've got Morris and Betty that were in here from a community foundation perspective working with Dane G. Well, every one of those things that they're working on, is an economic development.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you've got that going on, and then so it's great to have him on board. Nick's involved in that. I'm involved in that, and then you got some commissioners involved in that. So you've got the right people and leaders working on those initiatives, but they're all economic development. So this is just a board that'll help with that.
Right. Let's see. Franchise. People, I used to cover the council meetings all the time. They once a month or once a year they'd show up. What are the
franchise agreements?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got one with Midwest Energy, and we've got Prairie Land, Electric, and then we have Nextech. And some of these franchise agreements haven't been looked at in 15 years. Okay, and there's a lot of things that have changed in 15 years as far as. So we're going back and revisiting some of them. And it's not. I mean, we're currently like at 3.5% on a lot of these, and some at 3%, and you can be up to 5%, we're just we're going to go into we're going to go into negotiate. So at the last city council, to be, we're transparent here, we're communicating. I got approval to enter into contracts negotiations with Nextech. So their contract runs out in September. So we're going to sit down at the table with them.
Their representatives used to show up and said we wanted this for another 15 years or something.
Well, it's a 5-year rollover.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if we didn't do something here, you can't renegotiate for another 5 years. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to renegotiate.
And that gets money in the city. I mean,
it's money that comes into the city, but you got to balance that with what they provide the community as well. So I mean, they do a lot of great things in their community. They employ people. So you look at it as a partnership. Okay. That's how you got to look at these.
Okay, well, we're going to have you on here once a month after your second meeting. Probably.
But I appreciate that. I mean, it helps me communicate with the residents.
Anything else that your first month that you look back on there that any surprises?
Well, I mean, what makes this job difficult and people don't want to do this job, a lot of it has to do with ordinance violations.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have to deal with the dogs not being on the leashes or barking and snow removal and cars parked in the yard and all that, if this job would be real easy if everybody loved thy neighbor.
Yeah.
And they respected their community and their neighborhood and had the pride in their neighborhood and their house and everything that everybody else has, and it would be easy.
Sure.
This job would be a joy because the economic development is a joy, and working with Tim and Brenda has been good so far. I mean, we're working as one team. I'm hoping you're seeing better communications from us, and the council. I couldn't ask for better council. I mean, I love the people that we're working with right now, and they're doing a great job. And I hope they have as much energy as I have and keep it up, for at least for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you mentioned the ordinances because, and again, I attended meetings for over 40 years, all the council meetings, and some of the things are always brought up. And ordinances were a lot, something else. There's parking on the street ordinances, and there's up on the yard, and there's so many of them. And
snow removal is another one that we've dealt with here lately, and we still have, and I've got to go out and talk to some of these people. You cannot put snow back onto the street after we plowed it, or even before we plowed it. You put, especially if you're a contractor, and we have some that are real good at not doing that, and then we have some that just constantly are piling it back in. Well, that puts the liability on the people that they're contracting with. So if they're doing this for a church, or if they're doing this for a business and putting that snow back out, and something happens, if they have a wreck out there, that goes back onto the business as far as the liability.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I've got to remind our contractors to pile it up at the edge of the property or whatever, or put it in the curb.
Yeah.
But don't put it back out into the lanes.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah. And I always thought it makes sense if you can to put it on the lawn or something.
And that's not my law. That's not my law. That's not Tim's Driggs' laws. That's what the city council has approved, and that's what people got to understand.
Right.
See, Tim and I'm about ready to get it probably with both barrels. That people are not going to like me because.
But the messenger gets shot.
Well, yeah. But it's the city council, which is a 6-person board. Or council that puts this together and makes these ordinances, and unfortunately, we're in a position to have to go talk to them.
And they're the one you get blamed for,
right?
And that's your job.
And these ordinances have been around a lot longer than we have.
Have you looked? Are you going to be doing anything on the ordinance? I know on the planning commission we're going through all of our stuff now and updating it on the planning commission. On our meetings we have on every month, and go and look at all those things. Do you have anything about?
Well,
how long has it been since?
we'll look at we'll go through those as well. There's some that don't make sense,
Yeah.
and if you've got one out there that you just say is ridiculous, come talk to us, and we'll vet it out again. But right now, those have been established based upon what we know. But if there's one out there that you have an issue with, now one thing I'm going to do as a mayor, and what Tim is going to do and what Brent is going to do, is we're going to communicate those ordinances a lot better, because a lot of people don't know what the ordinances are.
Sure. Right.
And I'm going to focus on the ones that are being violated first.
Sure.
Okay. So we've got a lot of problems with dogs right now, and being off the leash.
Being a leash law, right?
Being a leash law. You've got to have them on a leash. We've had a couple instances where the guy was out walking his dogs and was attacked. His dog was attacked by one that was off a leash. Okay, so that's happened a couple times.
Yeah.
And then we just got some where the neighbors are just fed up with each other, barking dogs, and we got to get that under control. But there's a barking ordinance as well. So.
And it's in the book. That's the thing.
I'm just going to educate you on what the law is. If you want to follow, that's fine. If not, I've got to talk to Charlie. I've got to get over and talk to Sheriff Radaball and find out what can we do. We one of the things that we have on our plate is to take the ordinance violation process and re-engineer that altogether. Okay. One of the things we do not want, unless we want to increase our taxes and pay somebody to drive around looking for ordinance violations. And I don't think that's what we want. I would like to see us be more self-policing as far as, if people see a violation. Now, if it's a dangerous structure or something that provides danger to the public, then we're going to bring it forward. And then I want those highlighted by our people.
Sure.
Okay. But if you see that as well, bring it to our attention. But as far as weeds, cars being parked on too long and that stuff, we're gonna have we have a complaint form that you can fill out at the city office or online. Okay, but we're not going to take phone calls anymore. If you call us and want to, complain, we're going to ask you to come in and sign a form so we have something. In physical evidence to say, hey,
that there has been a complaint. Versus
us going to the person and say, somebody said.
Yeah.
Somebody said leads to coffee shop talk and that kind of stuff. I don't want that. Yeah. We need to.
Okay, all right. Anything else we want to talk about this morning?
No, I think you're doing a great job.
No. Well, thank you. Oh, it sounds like you got things.
It's been, I've been drinking by fire hose.
Okay.
And I've been learning a lot. Be patient with me.
Okay.
Hey, we got a long way to go and 2 years to get there.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And again, if you need to come talk to me, if people need to reach me, I'm still in 739 3rd Street.
Right here.
I'm in the back. Okay. They keep pushing me towards the back door. So you'll come through the Sunburst Realty, and then Rachel's office is where we're sitting now. I'm back behind here. I sit back there, or I'm at the city office. It seems like about once a day as well. Okay, so I may send you over there.
Okay,
so.
All right. Well, very good. But again, I think Lance wants to be transparent. If you have a problem, don't gunch about it. Go see you or whoever,
I like having open door policy, but if you have good ideas as well, I just don't need complaints. But I'll take. And if somebody wants if somebody has an interest in the Board of Zoning Appeals, the appeals board, come see me soon, because I need to get that thing filled.
Okay.
And
is that the only thing you need filled out?
Yeah, and here's how I take, when I ask somebody to be on a commission or on a board, I look at that first response.
Mm-hmm.
If it's I need to think about it, I probably don't want them on the board.
Okay.
I want somebody that has energy
Mm-hmm.
and has a passion for the city, like our council does,
Sure.
and like I do.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
anyway.
All right. Well, we'll see you.
Thank you for letting
If
me come
not
on.
before.
Well, yeah, if you need, this would be a great venue for me if you will allow me to come back.
You just let me. Oh, yeah.
If Rachel, will you allow me to come back? So, okay, thanks.
Okay. Very good. Again.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And of course, Lance, you got me going and doing this again, which I really enjoy. And on my Saturday morning sports talk, incidentally, I have Phillipsburg boys and girls coaches on. Also, Logan be over here. Logan girls and boys will be with us Saturday morning on the sports talk. The sports talk and the Tadpoll brought to you here by those fine sponsors you see crawling. We're going to, that was kind of fun today, having a drawing and to see maybe someone else could come on from the different sponsors and make it possible for us to do this every Thursday and Saturday morning. And again, thank you, Rachel, for she continues to upgrade our equipment here and everything, so we do appreciate that. We'll see you Saturday morning, 9 o'clock next door, and then next Thursday morning here on the Tadpoll.